All right. Hey, Josh, how does it feel to be part of the most anticipated episode of Straight to the Point and Completely Off Topic with your host, Kyle Dunbar?
Oh, it's so good. Feels so great. So excited.
It makes your life, huh? It's like
exactly
better than making your day, your month.
My whole life is now made.
This is the moment you've lived for.
Every moment has added up to this one singular moment of time. How you doing?
Yes, I'm doing awesome.
It's been a long time.
Would you say 5 years?
Shoot, no, longer than that.
Yeah, 7?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time.
How much hair do you have left?
Oh, some of it. I'm trying to grow it back.
Yeah, you taking the pills and all that too then?
The keeps. I'm doing the keeps.
Oh, good. Man, I tried some of that minoxidil stuff and my hair's, it made my scalp bumpy or something. It wasn't good.
Oh yeah, it doesn't hurt me, but I haven't seen any progress yet. The first 6 months was really struggling trying to get a habit of doing it, and then now now it's a habit. So it's like I probably got another few months to really see. They'd say 6 months before you see any progress, but whatever. I shave my head anyway, so.
I hope people are excited to listen to two old men talk about their hair problems.
Exactly.
That's what it amounted to.
I'm trying to avoid being an old man.
How's that working out?
It's working out pretty good.
Stop in time.
The key is toxins, right?
Lots of toxins.
I don't put any toxins. Well, you can't avoid that because there's toxins in all your food, but I haven't had a drinking habit since I was a kid. You know, like really young. Before I was 21 was really before when I was actually really drinking. And then I just don't, my whole family, my dad died of alcoholism last year. You know what I'm saying? And he was a perfect example of what not to like, how do you live? There's two different ways to live is the way the doctors described it, right? You can live for like high quality moment, like moment to moment, like you're looking for like this really intense experience, or are you looking for longevity? And those are the two different ways, right? And they were trying to get me to decide whether he was going to keep living or not based on that idea. And they're like, well, since, there was meth and heroin in his blood when he came to the hospital, we're just going to assume that he was living for the moment and that he wouldn't want to be a vegetable having a miserable, long experience, right?
Oh, wow. You had a decision like that to make.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, bro.
Fuck.
Pretty crazy. That actually, that whole experience was pretty crazy catalyst to what I'm experiencing now, which is pretty amazing. Down
and then up, like you're riding a roller coaster here of stuff. What's going on?
Yeah, kind of. So I don't think many people know too much about my life.
Not until today, man. Millions and millions of people.
Millions and millions.
You're on a server somewhere now, even if it's not millions of people. At some point, they'll dredge up all the, audio files and they'll be able to know everything.
Well, when Kloochy gets big and it's a mainstream name, then motherfuckers are going to be digging it up. They're going to be like, oh, shit, I want to hear the old stuff when he was just starting to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do the same. Like if I find almost anything that I like to go back and find, its early stages. I did that with all my rock and roll kind of stuff. And
so my life, it was pretty rough. I grew up with a lot of trauma. I was born pretty intensely autistic. And then my mom and my dad got divorced when I was 4. He was like cheating and drinking and doing his thing. And so she married this Mormon bishop. He was 45. She was 22 or 25 or something like that. And he was a prison guard in the psychiatric department of the Oregon State Prison. And he was a Mormon bishop. And he was severely abused when he was a kid because his dad was this whatever PTSD war guy. And he would walk up and knock him out and just ruthlessly beat him up and just all this crazy shit. So he was like that to me. He would beat me up every day. And
same difference. He didn't learn from it.
He didn't learn from it. He learned how to do it to his kids. He thought that was the right, he compared kids to dogs.
So are you beating your kids nowadays too?
Am I beating my kids?
Yeah, just to help the whole tradition.
No, I had to learn how to not do that.
Right on. I'm sorry, man.
learned to keep my hands off my kids. And it wasn't instant, you know, your first reactions as a parent are what you learn to do. And then you have to like observe that and just be like, okay, well, you know, like my hands shouldn't be on my children for any reason other than love and affirmation.
Right.
You know, and there's no other reason for me to fucking put my hands on my kids. There's absolutely no other reason. And it just took a lesson. Thank God my kids are pretty young when I learned it. And I didn't do anything that was traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? It was just like fucking, just like realizing like, oh shit, this could go really bad if I don't.
But you found yourself at that moment on occasion, then, just like your predecessors had, and their predecessors before them. Yeah. And you were able though to make a different decision. Yeah.
Well, you know, that's not an instant thing though. It took years and years and years of processing those experiences and knowing what I wanted and what I didn't want. You know, and how do I take this crazy thing?
Spank your children?
I did when they were really young. I wouldn't do that again though. Like if I had another kid, I would never spank them. Right. Just because I just don't see that it's a beneficial, you know, it's not a way to build trust and security, which to me, from my childhood, it is the most important thing for my kids, feeling trust and security, because that's just what I didn't have. Right. I had fear. And I had no sense of security, right? It's just like,
I haven't spanked my kid once, and that little butthead, I tell you, he lives to antagonize me.
Hey, that's a lesson though. That's a clear sign to you that you've created a safe environment for him. Because if he feared you, there's no way he would do that. But because you've shown him that you love him enough that you guys can have a conflict, and that he's still okay at the end of that conflict, and he's still safe, and he's still loved, and he's still supported, and he still has everything that he had before he antagonized you. You've shown him, you've proven to him that he can trust you.
Okay, right on. I like that.
So when he antagonized you, that's a beautiful moment, bro. That's like a dad and a son living their best moment right there. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just no way I would have antagonized my stepdad, because I was afraid of him.
Yeah. Well, that really, you brought a huge smile on my face, really, because now as I'm looking back at this, and it's not like I didn't know that to some extent, but it definitely reaffirms it. I love it when he fucks with me, to be honest.
Yeah, when I first heard that, it was huge for me. It was like, oh, okay, this means I'm on the right path. Because I was like, God, why am I always in conflict with this motherfucker? Jesus Christ, just wants me to be miserable.
How old are your kids?
My son's 17. I've been raising him by myself since he was 1. My daughter's 10, and she lives with her mom and her stepdad, and I see her every other weekend.
Different mothers from the two children?
Different mothers, I married my son's mom. She was, pretty caught up with herself, and so that made it difficult to have a marriage. So that didn't last very long. And the second one, I was supposed to marry, but
you were with her on the show, I believe.
Huh? Yeah, with Ink Master happened, and that fucked my head all up, and I ended up cheating on her, and
that's tough to come back from.
Blew my whole family up. Yeah, it's really, really difficult experience, and it did take years to kind of process it and get to a somewhat of a good place. And
I want to talk about this for sure, but I need to go back to something for a minute because I don't want to let this slip. You mentioned right away that you were born severely autistic.
Yes.
Now, I've never heard this from you before.
See, I didn't even really know it until about a year ago.
Okay.
So I thought it was just like ADHD. And then I watched that show Atypical. Ever heard of it? But it's about an autistic.
I have. I started to watch it. I think I lost interest at some point, but I lose interest in everything. It's
right. Sad. Well, I didn't lose interest in it because it felt like it was a show about me. And I was just like, oh, I can relate to that and that and that and that and that and that. I was like, okay, I wear the hoodie every single day and the headphones just to put out the noise because I can't fucking stand it. And, like my socks have to be a certain way. And, like just thing after thing after thing. And I finally like started realizing, okay, well, maybe I should do some research on this and really understand. And then that was the thing, like the best way to diagnose yourself is to research other people's experience. And if that's similar to yours, then is what you have, that's what you're experiencing.
This is amazing.
I'm writing a song about it, actually. It's called Running Away. It's going to be really big deal, I think, as far as like putting my music out. But
called Running Away?
Yeah, it's called Running Away.
It's about trying to get away from.
It's about being autistic. It's about being autistic. Okay. It's about being on the spectrum, and people not really understanding what it's like, and talks personally about the struggle, about feeling like
running away.
About trying. Yeah, it's like
reference maybe
like running away from all my problems, which I could just run away from my problems, So
okay, and just from meeting people at times too. If sometimes you meet a gaze, you don't want to be there. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's very common. Yeah, it's like very difficult to do social stuff. So that maybe helps you understand a little bit what you experienced with me on Ink Master.
Yes,
I had people reaching out to me like, I have Asperger's. Do you have that? I had 3 people reach out to me through social media saying my autistic son recognizes himself in you. And I was just like, screw you. How dare, like, what? Are you fucking even kidding me? You're going to reach out to me and tell me you think I'm autistic? Awesome. Right. Now I'm
oh my God.
Really is that was my thought.
So you start out angry. You got to go through all the emotions.
Right. I was like, what the fuck? And then I started going,
denial.
Then I had a friend that that has a son that had Asperger's, and me and him connected really, really well. And I told him at one time, like, hey, have him come out and just spend a week with me and just see if he likes working with me and just wants to, see if we enjoy that experience. And he came out, and at the end of the experience, I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, what are you talking? You're just like me. Like, you're exactly like me. Like, there's literally nothing wrong with you. You're completely capable of doing anything. I don't know what the problem is. And then after time, then I had to process that. Right. And then I'm looking back and I'm going, okay, that's not true. The only reason I relate to him is because we share the same symptoms.
Well, can I tell you something about the very first time that I met you and what you said to me?
Oh, I'd love to hear that, because I cannot remember that for sure.
The first thing you ever said to me, I mean, besides maybe we nodded at each other or whatever, the first thing you ever said to me was in the shops, when we all had our shops and you came into my shop. I don't know, I was putting something away or listening to some music or something. And you said, I've got this in the bag. And I was shocked, because that's not how you meet people that you're competing against necessarily. And then you said, I can do everything that anybody here can do. I've looked through other portfolios, but they cannot do what I can do. And not that you weren't wrong, right? And certainly in your own opinion, you were certainly on point.
Right.
But that
at least at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. You were a little conceited, perhaps. I know that
I was driven. I was very driven.
You're very driven.
And I've studied manifestation heavily, because I want to be a powerful person in the world. And so I was exercising that. No,
I think you did. And you are one of the most talked about. I mean, when I say the most anticipated guest on my show, I'm amazed that I have what I'm calling a show now. It's grown.
It's awesome.
And you are the most anticipated. There's one other that you're kind of at a tie with, and that's Mystical. And I hope to have Mystical Mike on, because I do love that kid.
Yeah.
And he's a deep person too. A lot of the stuff.
He probably has autism. He probably has autism too, or some sort of on the spectrum.
There is definitely something that I am not at liberty to say until he gets on. I can't wait till he gets on. I've been goading him on. I still talk. We text back and forth. He's a little reluctant to return my text sometimes, because they are about the podcast, and he is literally running away. And there may be something that puts him on the spectrum there.
Right.
But because he just talked to me at the last show we seen, and he says, Kyle, man, I got your text, man, but I'm dealing with a lot. I'm like, hey, no problem. Whenever you're ready. A lot of people want to hear you. And I hope that there's that it helps people understand you better too, as it helps me understand you better. As being autistic.
My hesitation was just like, I'm trying to do some other shit. You know what I'm saying? I've already pretty much maxed out my tattoo career. I guess I could charge more money, but I can't book any fucking further. I couldn't possibly get more fans. I couldn't possibly get more attention. You know what I'm saying? It's like just it's just crazy. So it's like, well, I can't live like this, right? Like, I can't live in a situation where I have fucking 10 emails a day from random chicks that want to fuck, and you know what I'm saying? Like, tons of people
blew your head up with that blew your head up too after the Ink Master. Did that because you said you kind of got your head blown up a bit, and that caused your relationship
well, I just had this expectation. You know what I'm saying? Like, what this idea of what that should mean, and I just got it's like distorted in my mind about like my life that I was living and what was I wanting, and I just wasn't. I knew what I wanted, which is what I'm doing now, And I knew
you
that
were driven.
Huh?
You were so driven. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Remarking that you were. I mean, you were already turning over ideas for shows in your head, like within the first few episodes.
Dude, I got on Ink Master not directly, but because of years of work doing that. Like I auditioned for season 2 for Ink Master. I had 3 shows written. I had almost sold one of them, and then I was like, and it didn't work. And then I was like, and then I had like a restaurant for a while, and I was so like desperate to make something happen that I was trying to get on Kitchen Nightmares. That almost happened, and then it just didn't. And then I just got so frustrated, right? Because I was like, damn, I read the fucking manifestation books. They tell me that if I just do it every single day, and I just do it and do it and do it and do it, eventually you've done enough things to where it just has to happen for you. And it wasn't happening. And I'm just like, God, okay, screw this. I'm giving up. I'm not going to be on TV. I'm just going to focus on tattooing. I'm just going to be the best tattoo artist I can be and get fulfilled in that way. I'm going to move to Portland. I'm going to go. I've always had this like weird fantasy of working with James Kern. I'm going to go work with James Kern. I'm going to get this job. And that's going to be, I'm just going to become a better tattoo artist. Like that's all I'm going to care about. Right. So I did that. And the first month I was there, Ink Master called the shop. Like, hey, you want to be on TV? And I just wanted to be like, fuck you. You know, like God, I tried so hard. I did everything.
That's the way manifestation is supposed to work.
That's how it works, bro. I learned. It was the most beautiful lesson, bro, because it taught me exactly how this is going to work in the future. Right? You're going to put the work in, work and work and work, do everything that you can until you give up. Because at that point, you're giving up. The only reason you're going to give up, if you're driven like me, is because you know you've done everything. You know what I'm saying? You know that it should be happening because you've done everything and you believe in the process. That moment that you're really willing to give up, that's the moment shit's going to start happening because you've done everything. Because that actually works. You know what I'm saying? When you
but
do
you should keep going then at that moment too. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you should. But it's hard.
You didn't.
You know?
Am I wrong?
Definitely, you're not wrong at all. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't have kept going. I'm just saying that was my indicator. That's how I learned. So next time I feel the same way, like, fuck, I've done everything. I've had the features on the other people's albums. I did the tours. I got the great music. I got the great artwork. You know what I'm saying? Like I have all these connections, but it's just not, why is it not blowing up yet? Where's the money? Why is it not happening? That's the moment I know just to keep going because it's going to happen. Because I've already done it.
So right on, when the eviction notices start piling in, when the bills start piling up, when you know it's about to break.
Yes, exactly. You've done it all. You spent it all. You've got put all your time, energy, money, love, passion, sacrifice time with your family. You know,
which is happening now then.
Huh?
It must be. And that's happening now then with Kloochy.
So I had right after my daughter's mom, we were together for 7 years, and after I cheated on her and we split up, I did some like messing around, and then I met this girl and we ended up being in a relationship. I was doing a bunch of art at the time, and she was doing similar art, and we just kind of latched on, and I did my first art show, like a solo art show here in Portland. It was like a 2-week thing. It was pretty amazing.
Oh, it's exciting.
It was so awesome.
It's really exciting. That doesn't just happen. I mean, Portland's a big city.
Doesn't just happen. Yeah, it was really, really awesome. And then we were together for 5 years, but she just happened to be like a super sick alcoholic, right? Just like very, very ill person. And she had trauma that she had gone through, and she was coping with that with the alcohol. And I wasn't really aware. I wasn't trying to be judgmental of anybody. I have so many problems with people in my life with alcohol that I try really hard to not be judgmental. If somebody says they drink, I just let them do their thing until I, and I just assume that it's not a problem, because I just think that that's just really prone. I'm really prone to just assuming that if somebody's drinking that they have a problem because of my experience, right? So I really work hard to just give people the benefit of the doubt and not let that get in the way of relationships. And this was the wrong person to do that with, evidently. But I spent 5 years with her. It was like, so as soon as I said anything about the alcohol, it was like after a really bad night of her being and I was just like, woke up the next morning, I was kind of in a mood, hadn't really ever mentioned anything. I hadn't even ever been in a mood with her before. We were together for 6 months at this point. And I go, she goes, what's wrong? You need to tell me. And I'm like, I'm getting my daughter ready for school. Like, can I just tell you later? And she's like, you're going to make me get so selfish of you. You're going to make me go to work, not know what the hell's going on. And I was like, well, I kind of have a problem with you drinking, and you were really, really mean last night. You said some fucked up stuff. And she was just like, her face just turned like, oh shit, I just got caught. And then it got angry. And then she said, fuck you. I'm out. Bye. You're never seeing me again, kind of thing. And I should have let that happen.
Right.
But I didn't let it happen. And then I continued that exercise almost on a daily basis, because she promised she would quit drinking. And then it was like
bargaining.
Yeah. Well, no, then it was like, well, no, did you drink today? You said you weren't gonna. No, of course I didn't. And then it's like, well, you fucking sure smell like it, and you're sure slurring, and there sure is a bottle of wine half empty right there.
Right.
It's just like,
so now you're the warden.
It turned into a war, bro. It turned into a war, and it was every day, to the point where I was like trying to go. I couldn't tattoo anymore, because every single day I'd be at the tattoo shop if I could get there, and then I'd be on the phone with her, and some huge hectic fucking fight, to the point where all my tattoos stopped. All my tattooing stopped. Everything. Like, I just wasn't able to tattoo anymore. Maybe once a week. That's all I could get, because it was just, I had fucked everything up so bad from the chaos, from letting her affect my life.
Right.
It ruined my tattoo.
Her alcoholism.
That's
why they say alcoholism is so much like disease. I've been convinced.
It is a disease, bro.
I've had people tell me otherwise, but I mean, when you study it with the epidemiology, it infects other people. It hurts other people near.
Yeah. It's a disease that has to be, and it has to be treated. You can't just stop, right? It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's really horrible.
Have you been addicted before yourself?
Huh?
Were you addicted yourself?
I mean, nothing other than cigarettes or whatever, but nothing, no drugs or alcohol. I did do lots of drugs and alcohol in my time, but not all when I was really young.
You're famous for some of it.
I did get famous for the weed part, yeah, but that's good for you, man.
Okay,
I mean, I have a big feeling about that too. I feel like, smoke in general is toxic to your body, but if you can get the THC and the CBD in your body, I use like a vape pen, and I try to keep as much CBD in it as I can, just because you don't feel that, you just get the health benefits from it. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Weed.
Then what about the vape pen? What about the electrical stuff going on there? The wicks?
Yeah.
And all those things? Anything to worry?
I talked to my doctor about it.
Yeah.
He was like, you really want to know the studies on this, and it's really not good for you. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Show me something. And he sent me like something that like had like cases of people getting their lungs burned. And I'm just like, that's not, first of all, cancer, which is what I'm trying to avoid. And second of all, that's not going to happen to me. I'm using like a mainstream buying at 7-Eleven, like a vape that like millions and millions of people use. If they were burning people's lungs, they would change the formula. They would figure it out.
This was
very recent, right? So yeah,
the study was too.
Yeah, I don't know when the study was, but it wasn't beneficial to me in understanding, like
overall longevity.
Yeah, there's no logic to thinking it's dangerous. There just really isn't.
Right. Well, there's some of it is obviously going to be dangerous, but trusting the manufacturers and maybe knowing more.
Yeah,
I used to have one guy. He would. There was actually they're probably still out there. They would have a picture of the bud that the oil or the vape came from, like on the packaging of the cartridge. Okay. So that I don't know what that proved.
I don't think it proves anything.
Okay, right on. That he can take pictures.
Well, there was a moment, and I think it was like just really in New York City, and there was a bunch of illegal cartridges coming out that people were just making on the streets, and those they were cutting with vitamin E oil or something like that, and that was really hurting people, right? Like people were going to the hospital. Some people died, and so what they do is it's just like what they did with weed, right? Where it's like they take something and they focus on it, and then they say that somehow is how the law on everything, in order to deal with this one thing that's not actually substantial information that doesn't help understand the situation at all. So with weed, it was worse. They fucking gassed a bunch of monkeys in a gas mask with no oxygen, pumped ounces of weed into their fucking brain until they died. And then they bring that study to Nixon, and that's how he decided to start. I'm sure there was more to it, but that was the actual study that was used to create the law.
Well, not to create the law was created well before that. Am I wrong? I don't know about federal law, but in California, my understanding of the law, and I'm no lawyer, this is just coming from some propaganda that I read for the weed people. I think it's from Reefer Madness, but that they originally crafted the laws to keep tacos out of Mexico, or no, out of California. I know, stupid as that sounds, but people were coming over from Mexico. They were selling tacos to the miners and the people that were settling those towns. And the business owners that ran food places there weren't able to compete with the tacos that were being sold. So they made weed illegal because the Mexicans were also smoking weed as a natural habit of their own. And then they made that illegal to control that. And it stayed pretty much illegal because, you know, it's hard to get things off. And then it was what else? Off the control.
So many stories like that.
Well, one is the newspapers also that felt that marijuana as a crop would ruin their ability to get paper from wood, that they also began as large bigger problem. Papers. They wanted
here's another thing. There's two things, right? There's the timber industry, which is huge in Oregon, that directly competed with the marijuana crop or the hemp crop or whatever that they were using, which was the main crop in this country for a very, very long time. And then there was the medical industry, where they had just kind of come out with syringes, right?
Yes.
And so you can't they were using marijuana as a medicine, but you couldn't put it in a syringe. So so they couldn't make their money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anything in the medical, that was like really probably the beginning of the medical complex, industrial complex, when they were like, okay, well, you know, if you can't put it in a syringe, then it's not medicine, and we're not going to sell it, and we're going to make it illegal. We're going to fight against it. And that
is two potheads ideas of the rhetoric and the history of.
Well, and
if
then
you want any real stuff.
War. There's also the Vietnam War and all the protests of the Vietnam War and all the hippies that were smoking weed and how they made all that. You know, like that had to be the American people had to be manipulated through propaganda for us to think of them as hippies. You know what I'm saying? Like that happened from our media, from our fucking government, so that we were divided. Like that's how it works. Just the same thing we're experiencing now, where our government takes words and ideas and they use them to divide people as hard as they can. Like, you know, the right and how incredibly divided the right and left are right now. Like that's on purpose. That's not on accident. And that's done through our media.
I believe. Well, and through our politics. Now, here's the fucked up part about this. My wife, I was already starting all political this morning. Candy was like, go ahead and clear your mind of that shit, because you don't want to talk about that. But I also knew there was a good chance, because honestly, you and I have had relatively deep conversations, not necessarily that we engaged in them long.
Right.
But I know that you are empathetic to the plights of politics, especially when the bombing went off. Not that was politics, but you were really, when the bombing in Boston happened, we were there filming, and it really affected you.
Yeah.
I thought that you were acting at one point.
Mm-hmm. I see things differently. I was in the military. I got recruited for 9/11, before 9/11 happened, in the Navy, right? And I got a special program called the GTEP program, and it was for kids that were criminals, homeless, you know, criminal record, homeless, no high school diploma, right?
This was you?
This was me, right? I was homeless.
You didn't have a diploma, or you were?
I had dropped out of high school. I was homeless, and I had a criminal record.
Oh my God, dude! I think we skipped some stuff. I'm really bad at this sometimes.
We need like 10 hours if we're going to get everything. But
okay.
You know,
well, I guess we'll skip ahead. So you're in the Navy then. You're in a special
I joined the Navy. Guess when 9/11 happens? 9/11 happens the day that I get out of the day after I'm done with boot camp. The first day I'm on leave. I'm smoking weed. My dad calls me and he goes, "Son, you're going to war." And I'm like, "The fuck I am. I literally joined the Navy during a time of peace because of that, because of the no risk." And he's like, "Nope, turn on the TV." And I saw, you know, like many people did, the planes. I watched the second plane hit and I started crying. I was like, "Dude, I got to get off the phone." But I didn't understand that until after I was already out of the Navy, right? Because it took just hearing so many stories about what actually was the purpose of that. What were we actually doing there? 9/11 is about Afghanistan and our opium. Nobody really wants to talk about that, but it's not just 9/11 is about that. All that shit, the fucking Desert Storm. People don't even think about Desert Storm anymore. My daughter's stepdad was in Desert Storm.
Well, were you in any of these deployments too, or not?
I was tech support for the SEALs during that time, so I would stay at home and I'd send them out overseas. I did all the weapons, so I would make sure they had the weapons. I'd make sure they maintained, and then I would pack
physically. Okay.
Yeah. So we built an armory. Just about, I did consumables. That was like my main job was buying consumables. But yeah, so I supported the Navy SEALs during that whole time. But so my daughter's stepdad was in the Desert Storm. He shared this experience with me, and this is just on top of a bunch of other stories, right? It kind of comes together. But his story was that there was two things that happened during one day. One was that his superior officer, whoever that was, his commander or whatever, authorized murdering a large group of civilians, women and children, just fucking straight up killing them, right? Just murdered them all, just for no real reason. I don't even know. It was more convenient to do that than do it whatever the humane thing would be, which I've learned is a pretty normal American situation. Like we don't mind murdering people as long as there's no accountability for it. We're actually very prone to do that. So then
people, as society,
we're like, America.
Force,
that's what I
enforcement.
Yeah, no, we kill our own people. We'll kill other people. We don't care. We don't care as long as there's some sort of political or economical gain to be had.
Okay.
We will kill. I mean, just think about it's too much.
Yeah. No,
right.
Keep with the story, but for field and let me know.
Yeah, let's just say that for 9/11, well, for Desert Storm, when my daughter's stepdad was there, that same day that his superior officer authorized all these people to be killed, they also came upon a large opium field, right? So they're like, fuck, this is illegal and horrible. We can't have opium growing here while we're trying to do whatever. They didn't know anything, so they took their flamethrowers to the opium field, right?
Right.
So then at the end of that day, we have his superior officer and him all standing in the Navy. It was called captain's mast. I don't know what they call it. in the Marines or whatever he was in.
The convening both though.
You're in trouble. Talking. You're in trouble, right? You're standing before your captain or you're the highest officer. He's going to be punishing you because some shit happens, right?
Because you burnt some crop
and you murdered some people, right? Both things were up for discussion. So the murdering people completely dismissed. We were just trying to do this. Okay, cool, you're good. The crops, if you ever touch another opium flower, poppy flower, you are going to prison for the rest of your life. Do not ever fucking touch another fucking poppy. Do you understand? That was what was given to him. So
to the commanding officer.
From the highest in charge down to the guy that burnt the poppy fields. The murders, no problem. The fucking opium that, in my opinion, fueled the opium pandemic right after that, right? Why do we have a huge opium pandemic at the same time we're in Afghanistan protecting opium from the Taliban, which were just people living there that didn't want the Americans growing opium in their fucking country, stealing their water, stealing their resources, all the stuff like we do in every country. They had a problem with it. And then if you look at the whole thing, if you go down the road of the leaders that they killed, they used the same technique that they use in every situation. This is something I learned in art school. They don't teach it in law school. They don't teach it in whatever accounting school. But when you go to art school and you go to an American history class, they teach this shit, right?
This is what?
There's a book called something like American Hitman or something like that. And it's a guy that was participating in these kind of exercises. And he wrote a book about it after he had retired. And it says that in every situation, America has a process for gaining resources and control over land in other countries. Step one, you ask them for their shit. Let's just say whatever, fucking avocados in Guatemala. We say, we want your avocados, we want your land, and we want your resources to grow those avocados. We want you to work for your people to work for free, and we want you to send them to us for nothing, right? That's the normal way.
That's insane, though, right? That never.
Normally, the country is so afraid of America that they just say yes, most of the time.
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they don't say yes. So then, if they don't say yes, then we try to do a coup. right? We call them a terrorist. We call them an anti-humane, blah, 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 blah. We push all this bullshit out to our society and to validate us fucking supporting their people and overthrowing their own government. And then we place a new person in place that will agree with us, right?
Okay.
If that doesn't work, which it usually does, then they send in a fucking assassin to kill that leader. Blackwater, one of our commonly known murdering groups of people that are around the world, just killing people because we want them to. Not military, just people that we give guns, pay them to kill people, right? And we have them,
Okay.
like Blackwater's a good example. Which I almost joined Blackwater, by the way.
No.
I got the military. Yeah. I looked it up and I found a website. It asked me for my full military history, asked for my social. I pushed send. I could never fucking find it again. I could never find the website again. I found it one time. I submitted. I never heard from them. And I never, like I said, I searched for it again and I could never find it. It's pretty
What, like it went black, it went dark on you after you submitted? They're like, nope, you never get this. You
like literally, I
knows your IP.
It wouldn't come up. There was nothing. And they wanted to know every weapon that I had ever fired, how many people I had killed, like everything. It was pretty intense, bro. But
now,
yeah, I don't know, man.
Have you killed people then? Is that you were kind of mostly a support role?
No, I didn't kill. I didn't.
You think they weren't that interested in you for the support role because they
didn't say anything. I just assumed that it didn't reach anybody and I just moved on. But yeah, I mean, that's my perspective on our government, right? And it comes from just studying history. I have a similar perspective on Christianity that discusses Jesus as just a regular dude that's based on Roman history, which Christians don't study. It's fucking insane. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? So I actually study the stuff that's based around the thing because I don't believe anything. Right.
Well, it's hard to just straight up believe the Bible necessarily because it's been through hands that have had the desire to control it. Right.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's just believing the history of Christianity in general. Like they dismiss the fact that all women that were part of the church back then, right, were could go to their church. Thousands of women did this. Could go to their church, go to their leader or whatever he was, their bishop or their pastor or whatever, and get a blessing for their child to say that their child has the possibility of being born as God. Right. That was a common exercise. And guess what they called that blessing?
I don't know.
Immaculate conception. Guess what we consider immaculate conception now?
Well, the divinity, the Mother Mary and her birth, right?
Well, that's what we think, but that was just one of thousands of women that had that same experience. The only reason that she's the one that's remembered is because when Jesus joined up with John the Baptism, who already had a religion and started learning about religion and creating his own religion, he remembered, oh, my mom got this immaculate conception and I'm creating a religion. So if I, you know what I'm saying? So if I use that as part of my teachings, then I'm the son of God, which he really didn't teach. He taught that everybody is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like an interesting story.
I followed it. I've got another interesting part for you then. Tell me if you've ever thought of this, the plight of poor Joseph, you know, like the first time his wife ever had dick, it was God dick. And then he had to follow that up. That's like Poison following up after Metallica.
Who told that story? Who told the story? You know what I'm saying?
Of the Immaculate Conception?
Who and when was that story told? And I only asked that question because I grew up Mormon and I found out like 20 years after leaving the religion that Joseph Smith didn't tell the story about him being a 15-year-old getting approached by the angel Moroni until he was 30. That's when he told the story for the first time and started the religion. So when you
man, that's a good religion. I mean, if you want to see some funny stuff.
It's a weird one, but it's a great one. Yeah.
I
prefer Pastafarian. That's my favorite religion.
I was wondering, how do you feel about the Mormon church then? Do you feel it's corrupt in some fashion as well? Or
I don't
corrupted?
I don't understand. I don't know what corrupting, and I think it's a great religion. Yeah, I think people are wonderful. I have tons of family that are Mormon. They're beautiful people. Their beliefs are beautiful. And if you can be loved by a God truly in your own mind, you are one of the most powerful people in this world, because then you don't need anybody. You don't need love from
or judgment, right? then don't you rise above societal judgment too? Isn't that
I guess
almost the fear?
I guess I'm less worried about that. I think I'm more. I'm just looking at the positives, right? I'm less thinking about.
I'm saying like with Brigham Young and John Smith, wasn't that kid's name?
Joseph
like with
Smith.
Joseph Smith, yeah, with his predilections for young children.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
No, come on. Yeah, you do.
No, I don't know anything about that. I was raised Mormon, so all I've done is.
How do you know so much about the Christians and their evil plots and the government and their evil plots, but you the Mormon that escaped you that
it's just not that interesting to me. Yeah, I don't know.
But the Joseph Smith had sex with young girls.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. That never had come up in anything that I've ever heard of or anything. Yeah.
You were not aware. Now, what about the Mormons that followed in Joseph Smith's footsteps that then also married underage children?
Yeah, I never heard anything about underage at all. There was lots of discussion about, like, there was always the discussion about polygamy and having multiple wives, but
and oftentimes those wives are under the age of 18.
Yeah, that just wasn't something that's been discussed in my world.
Is it not interesting to you too, though?
Yeah, I mean, I just really have a hard time. I grew up with a prison guard in the psychiatric unit of a prison. Guess what he talked about all the fucking time?
That was a Mormon.
Yeah. Guess what he talked about all the time? How that I was going to become a pedophile because I was drawing women, and the people in his prison were also drawing women, and so because I was doing a similar action to them, that I was prone to be a pedophile. And it was constant, bro. It was constant. So I don't even like that subject at all.
I follow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just stay away from pedophile shit. Like, it creeps me. Not only does I just like, I have kids, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the most horrible. And also I was assault, like I have my own experience with that shit as a kid. So I don't even.
Not your stepfather though.
No, just it was a woman, but it was, you know, it's just pretty traumatizing. Kind of fucked me up for a long time. But
trauma's trauma. People don't understand.
So I don't even like that at all. Yeah, I stay away from the pedophile stuff, man. That just is not a comfortable subject for me.
Okay, yeah. That's why it drew parallels for your interest in Christianity, kind of going off of its direction, possibly for good, and Mormonism. And so that's the only reason because my understanding of Mormonism and my reading of the Bible and the history, not the Bible, but the Book of Mormon, which I didn't get so far. I got the first couple of chapters. I got a Bible out of Vegas because they had the Mormon one out there. Yeah. And I've always been interested a bit in the story. My mom, I grew up Christian, so my mom told us when we would see the Church of Latter-day Saints commercials, and we would ask them about that. And they said, "Mom, I can get this free other companion book to the Bible." And my mom said it was Satanism. So that was my experience with it, but that also made me very interested in it, which is kind of funny when people do that and they're like, "That's Satanism, leave it alone." And you're like, I think I'm interested in the Satanisms.
Of course. Yeah. Don't touch that. Yeah. Don't touch it. I'm going to touch it. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my background. Okay. For me, and really, I kind of started talking about that just to kind of, you were saying politics, right? And I was
we were really talking about your time in the Navy, and then we got steered a little bit.
Well, that started because of us starting to talk about. You were saying, "Oh, I don't really want to discuss." Well, I don't know. Maybe it didn't go like.
Oh no,
I don't want to discuss politics. And I was like, "Okay, well, let me give you my background if we do discuss politics, because the next thing to come up was going to be Ukraine, right? Like, I don't have a whole lot to say about coronavirus. I think everybody has come together somewhat on the same page, where we can all believe that it's a true thing that happened. We can all believe that it's definitely being somewhat influenced by capitalism, and there's some fishy fucking shit that we don't get to know.
So some of it, though, we were going to. So the next thing, though, besides that we don't have so much clarity on, would be Ukraine's war.
Here's the thing about Ukraine. Yeah, so Ukraine. I was watching it for a year before that happened, and it was constant media. And it's like, why the fuck is the US media posing an assault from Russia to Ukraine as if it's an inevitability for a year, as if it's inevitability. They never talked about it as if it might happen or there's a risk. It's just, it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Wasn't it imagined though that this, because they already took Crimea, right?
I don't know.
And they had already.
I'm talking about. Okay. I'm talking about. Crimea was like the first city they took, or I don't know what Crimea is.
Yeah, some time ago, before 2012, even, I think, right? Okay. 2011 or something.
So then we have NATO positioning themselves on the border of Russia while we're saying that we're going to, that it's inevitable for Russia to respond to that, right? And I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm just going to say things that I know, right? Okay. So the other thing I know is that the money, right? This is always the next thing to go to. In this whole situation, the money is coming from the American people to the defense contracts, American defense contracts. That's the financial thing that's happening. So, like, kind of just put two and two together. Obviously I don't know anything. I'm not in the military now. I don't know anything, any of those people. I'm not involved in any of it. I'm just watching and I'm just going, okay, well, what's the outcome? Well, the outcome is that our American defense companies just made billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars. Our American defense companies. Guess where they got that money? From us.
Right. Now, it's already part of congressional approved spending, or were they making more congressional approvals for spending
after the thing, right? They approved the spending after. Oh, we got a conflict now. Oh, this is so terrible. We have this huge conflict. All these people are dying. Let's approve all this billions of dollars from American taxpayers to pay all of our fucking defense companies so we can send all these. We're not going to send any people over there because we don't want to lose any people. We don't make any money on that.
Well, yeah, and we also could end up in a nuclear war if we send people over there.
Yeah, I don't feel like anybody feels like that's actually a risk.
Oh, really?
Personally, yeah. I mean, Putin does want to take things over, but I don't think he wants to blow the earth up. And everybody knows everybody knows. Putin's not stupid.
Right.
He knows he can threaten it.
If we find ourselves at war with Putin and we have nuclear weapons and he has nuclear weapons, the possibility of that escalation is much more inevitable. If we don't have troops over there.
I totally understand the dialogue, right? I just don't buy it.
Okay.
Right. The same thing with the fucking coronavirus. I went through the whole thing. I get the dialogue. I hear it, you guys. I hear that the fucking vaccine is safe and effective and all this other shit, masks work and all these things. I don't fucking buy any of it. I don't buy any of it. I'm watching the money. And the money doesn't say that this is a pandemic. The money says this is a huge shift in wealth. That's what the money says.
To medical groups.
To Amazon, to Zoom, to medical industry, to what was the other thing I was just thinking of? There's another big one. It's just,
but then is that just throwing a blanket of suspicion over anybody that is in a position to make profit off of crisis?
It's not suspicion. It's a blanket knowledge that anybody in the position to make profit off of crisis will.
That they will. But then now there seems like there's an imagination then that you have those people are more than happy to exasperate that and maybe even cause it.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far.
Okay.
But I wouldn't put it past us if you look at our history.
Right. Well, agreed.
Same thing with 9/11. I wouldn't go so far as to say that George Bush purposely blew up the Twin Towers and stole the largest bank of fucking gold that was at the bottom of those buildings that was talked about once in the news and then never talked about again by anybody. I also wouldn't go so far as to say that he did that intentionally. I wouldn't go so far as to say that because that puts me into quite the conspiracy theory category, right? I'm now a very, very crazy thinking person.
You're already, just by saying it a little bit, you're teetering.
But I wouldn't put it past us. I'm not saying that I know or even think or believe that happened. I'm just saying I know the history of our country, and I know that we are very willing to kill thousands and thousands of people for a financial gain.
Am I right in thinking that this is
other countries in order for our financial gain? We're currently enslaving other countries that we don't talk about. like with all the people that are making our t-shirts in South America and their fucking buildings are crumbling and they get fucking 10 cents a day. Like that's ours. That's us. We're wearing those clothes. We're the ones that give the military actually take control of that asset. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how we work. People don't like to believe it.
Am I right in thinking that this is probably a part of your music then too?
Most definitely.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know
how
literal. I'm a little bit nervous even about speaking because most of the time I'm just with one person, right? I don't have like a lot of people. I don't have an audience. So it's like I can speak freely with that one person, right? And that's what I found out about society nowadays, right? Like people are so awesome one-on-one, but in a group setting, people are horrible.
I like to say persons are great. I love persons and I hate people.
Yes. I love people. I hate the public.
Right. Well, I feel like once you get a people, that's basically that, right? So like a person is that one-on-one, and I have the ability. And what I find many times, honestly, is that like I have very different political views than a large majority of my friends oftentimes, but yet we will be friends and love each other, have very diametric views. I wasn't a big fan of Donald Trump, and a lot of my friends are great big fans of the guy. So in there, but I still love those people, you know? I love them enough that I don't go on Facebook anymore because I don't want to see that. It's like,
well, how about this? I had somebody, I posted about Snoop Dogg. I don't know what it was. And I had somebody come on and tell me, oh, I used to like him, but then because of his beliefs, I don't really like him. And I'm just like, I had to send a message to him like, do you not understand that there's a difference between the person and their beliefs? Like their beliefs are something that is manipulatable. It can change because of the media. It could change because of what you say. But their person, that's who they are. That's how they treat you. That's how they act. You know, that's their humanity. Yeah. Do they have good humanity? Are you judging their humanity, or are you judging a perspective that they might temporarily have? It's like we need to stop judging each other for beliefs and belief systems, and start, you know, like understanding that it's the person separate.
Right.
They're not.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Well, then how does Bill Cosby fit into that? He used to make me laugh.
I would say that Bill Cosby, I would judge his person and say, like, if as a person you take actions that hurt people, that's how you should be judged.
Okay.
For those actions.
Right
yeah. So
and I want to
say,
I still have the ability to laugh? Like, do I have to feel bad for laughing at him for so many years?
No, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's like getting rid of that shit. That's ridiculous. It's so like you can't judge somebody for something you didn't know about them and their entertainment. That's even another separate thing, right? Their
now, how about my admiration of him for his civil rights work?
Yeah, exactly. We
I can still have admiration for that.
We have a really hard time seeing different categories of a single person, right? We see one thing they did and all of a sudden that's that whole person, but we don't remember the other things that they might have done or said that have been awesome or that have helped people that are whatever, you know. And honestly, you know, if you just from all the therapy that I've done in the last year, from you know, just having to deal with my dad dying and I breaking up with this chick that I was all sick in my head with, I've learned a lot about but pretty much it's just like to really like I don't know where I was going with this, but I think it had something to do with just expressing like empathy, right? Like I have, and that comes with autism, which a lot of people don't understand. They think that because of the way you communicate, that you aren't able to empathize with other people, but it's actually the opposite. Like autistic people have a magnified empathy. It's actually
it's almost too powerful to want to deal with.
Like I can't even see a guy that's like in the cold. Like there's so many fucking homeless people here and so much like devastation to humanity here, and I can't I cannot like see them without giving them what I have, right? Like if I have money in my pocket, if I have a jacket that would keep them warmer, like I can't help it because I go down that road of like I was homeless, you know what I'm saying? I've been in it. I know what it's like. I know how much it hurts. I know how it would have felt for somebody to do anything for me, which nobody did, right? Like I just can't help it. Like
how do you deal with because then you see this destruction around you all the time. You're out there in Portland.
Yeah, I mean,
how much do you have money left?
I've got paintings of homeless people. I try to like document it, and I don't know. And I try to also stay away from it really, like as much as I can, like not participate, because if I start like getting involved, I would give everything away. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's what I was wondering. How do you kind of have to put blinders on then?
Right. But it's kind of the same thing that I do with the way I deal with all of my life, right? Like it's easier for me to communicate with people through art and music rather than communicating directly with people.
So you say you've already toured with Kloochy as Kloochy?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, this is all new. I was Joshua 6 for a while. I've been making this music for 11 years now. If you can go back and look up, there's a YouTube video from 2011 or 10 or something like that. And it's called Tattoo Artist Rap. And I think you type my name, Joshua Hibbard, right? And it brings up this old video way before any Ink Master stuff or anything like that. And it's me just doing my very first rap that I ever wrote. And I wanted to share it with my client. And he was just like, hold on. And he popped his phone up and recorded it and put it on YouTube. And I was so mad. It's like, dude.
And now it's forever.
What are you doing? And now it's like, I look back on it and it's like, oh, that wasn't even that bad for my first one. And like, look where I've come now, like 10 years of working and writing songs. I've been releasing songs under Joshua 6 for a long time. I just didn't have that confidence in it and I didn't have an understanding at all of how to do it right. And
so where does Kloochy come in?
Yeah. So I'm driving to the beach with my alcoholic ex, and we pass this sign.
I feel like we need to give her a fake name so that you can. I mean, maybe Alcoholic X is a good enough one.
It's a good one. So so I'm driving to the beach with her, and we see this sign, and it says Kloochy Creek. Okay. Right. Turn here, and I'm like, Kloochy. That's because I'm like just on it constantly, trying to think of a fucking good name. I went through Joshua 6. First, it was just going to be Joshua. And then it was Joshua 6. Then it was Joshua Keys, because that's my like mom's family's name. And I liked all those, but then it just like every time I would observe somebody else that kind of had a similar name, I just had no interest at all in hearing what they fucking had to do musically. I just didn't attract me. So I was always trying to find something better. Okay, so I'm driving with my girl.
Kloochy. Yes.
See the sign. I'm like, that's a great name. And she's like, oh, that's kind of funny, but you can't be Kloochy. Like, you're too professional and like, respected. And that's just like it's like a joke. Like, that's like, it's too sexual. It sounds like coochie. Like, you can't do that. And I'm just like, well.
And you're realizing as she tells you this, that it's perfect, right?
No, not quite. Right.
Okay.
So I started I started a TikTok account for me and her. We're going to get on TikTok, and it's called Kloochy because that gave me an opportunity to use it. Right. I knew I wanted to use it somehow, but I didn't know how. So I started a TikTok called Kloochy, and we never did one single TikTok video together. Right. I ended up like following a bunch of people. Her daughter got on my TikTok account and saw all the people that I was following and said, Josh is following a bunch of young girls dancing. And so then she got mad at me. And so I deleted it. Right.
Well, that's what TikTok is dancing.
That's what I didn't know. I just fucking, that's what I thought, if I'm going to be on there and I'm going to connect with people, it's going to be the people that are promoting these songs. And those are the people that are dancing. So that's what I thought. I didn't think like she did. But as soon as I understood how she was thinking, I want to be a good person, a good partner. I don't want to cause me insecurity. So I just deleted it. Right. Yeah. So then I started working at Esoteric Tattoo with these just great group of people, really huge shop, probably one of the best known shops here in Portland. I was so lucky. I felt like to get the job, just really excited. And I'm showing them my music and they're kind of like, whatever, like not really digging it. And then I tell them about my name and they hear about Kloochy. And all of a sudden they're just like, whoa, bro, you have to use Kloochy. Like I would listen to Kloochy. Like the same song, if it's coming from Kloochy, I want to hear I want to hear what he says, right? And I was just like, it's just that's too much of a joke. Like, it can't be Kloochy. Fuck. Like, God, I know I get you like it, but I can't do that. And so I just didn't do it. I did a couple more songs with Joshua 6, and then me and my chick broke up. I went through all this shit, right? My dad died. Me and my chick broke up. Fucking, I'm in therapy. I'm trying to put myself back together. Yes. So I'm trying to figure it out. Fucking. And I just maybe like 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks ago, I'm finally getting through my therapy. I'm doing DBT. It's amazing. Everybody should do a DBT. It's dialectic behavioral therapy. What it does is it teaches you literally how to cope with the world. If it was built for borderline personality disorder, which is people that show symptoms of other, neurological or whatever problems, but it's just caused by trauma, right? So you don't actually have OCD. You don't actually have, depression. You have trauma that causes you to have OCD or depression. So that's called by borderline personality disorder, which I don't know that I have, but it was the most useful type of therapy that I could go into.
And the type of therapy for BDP is what was that again?
DBT. It's dialectic behavior therapy.
Dialectic.
Yeah.
Behavior.
So what that does is it just literally goes through, it has like 3 different segments: emotion regulation, mindfulness, and distress tolerance. And it teaches you skills. One of those skills that I learned was non-judgmental. This is not the most important one, but it's really helpful, right? When you look at things and you take the good or bad out of them, and you realize that's just shorthand to actually describing your preference, right? So you can say, I prefer a chocolate chip cookie, or you could say that chocolate chip cookies are bad, or chocolate chip cookies are good. Well, that's not true. Chocolate chip cookies aren't bad or good. You just prefer them or don't. So I learned how to think like that, which took the fucking weight off of my life, honestly.
Really?
You go through the world and you no longer think things are bad. Nothing. Okay. Nothing's bad. There's nothing bad. Nothing's bad in my life. Nothing's bad in the world.
So if you were in the Garden of Eden, you're throwing up the apple.
I don't know what that means.
You no longer have the knowledge of good and evil.
Pretty much, yeah. There is no good or evil.
There's a freeing in that.
I threw the apple up. And then I learned another skill probably 5 months later. And I've learned a bunch of skills in between that are just like, how to deal with certain things, how to deal with people, how to talk to people successfully, just all this stuff that was really helpful. But this last one was understanding thought distortions. Okay. Thought distortions are that thing that's in the back of your head that's coming from somebody else's voice that's telling you you can or can't do something, or you are or not something, right? So my thought distortions were, you're too old. You're too bald. Okay. You're too tall.
You're too tall, man.
You're not talented enough. You can't freestyle in front of a group of people without having written something before. You don't have enough experience. You're not black. You know what I'm saying? Like these thought distortions telling me that I can't do it. And as soon as I recognized them as thought distortions, that all went away, bro.
Well, let's be honest, though. You are too tall.
I am too tall. Yeah, it hurts me. It hurts my back.
I'm sorry, man.
I saw a girl yesterday, and she's so beautiful. She's at the
she didn't tell you you're too tall. That also means you got a big dick.
No,
even if that ain't. That is shush. That's what we're going with.
That's should.
Don't fuck up your own myth.
I've always had a theory that if you say you have a big dick, nobody's ever going to believe it. But if you're just like, it's average, then everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised.
Right on. I think Pete Davidson talked the same at some point about that. That's how he got on Ariana Grande's good side. You might end up dating Ariana Grande. Is that,
I have set goal in my life for my next relationship to be with a celebrity. So
I'm spoken for, brother.
And I know it's not like it's not like the most healthy goal to say I'm only going to have relations with those people. It's really just a target to reach. You know what I'm saying? If I can elevate myself to that point where I'm an icon in the music industry, then of course I would be dating a celebrity. That wouldn't make sense for me to go date.
I want to judge this so poorly right now. I don't know if I can. I'm not finding the right ability to. What is isn't that that's like so you want to be like Carmen Electra kind of?
I would say it like this. I would say it like this, and this kind of comes from my mom, right?
Social climber.
I would say I am specifically pointing at a star, right, in fucking space that might be out of my reach, but I'm going to try to reach that fucking star, right? But if I end up running out of gas and going to another star, you know what I'm saying? Like focusing on that one.
Isn't that second star? Isn't she going to be let down? Like, so you're aiming for Rihanna and you end up getting
no,
Ariana
they're not
Grande.
going to know that. I'm not even going to remember any of that by the time I get there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
I won't even remember any of that. I'll just get there. I'll just achieve it. And then it's like, well, the point was to reach the stars.
Right.
Right. Focusing on the one.
A-star.
Focusing on the one helped me push through because I had that one thing on my mind. So mine was Britney Spears, bro. We're the same age.
Oh, right on, dude.
We're the same age. She's hot as fuck still. I think she's a badass. I think me and her she's super fun. I think me and her would vibe. I've actually messaged her a couple of times.
But are you on her do not call list? Are you on like, they're probably like, did you make it to her creeper file?
I have a few of those on my file. So maybe I did. I don't know. I haven't done anything that I would put somebody on a creeper file for.
Oh, good.
But
right on. Like you're going to go to the concert and the bodyguards are going to pick you out and be like, not this one.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's the guy. There's the Kloochy guy in the yellow sweater. Let's stop him. So,
right on. Oh, I'd love it if you were with Britney Spears, man.
Oh, that'd be
dude,
awesome.
You know how our friendship would improve if you were dating Britney Spears?
Dude, do you have any idea how much all of my friendships have improved simply just posting this stupid music shit and saying Kloochy?
Really?
I have people that I haven't talked to for 10, 15 years. All of them are reaching out to me right now as if I fucking somehow already made it. Because
this is exciting.
And I think that's the magic of what I'm doing right now is that because of what happened on Ink Master, right? It's built this weird idea of who I am, how much I'm talked about and all this stuff, that when I fucking tag Snoop Dogg, motherfuckers think I'm signed. Literally. People are hitting me up like, bro, you got signed to fucking Death Row. What's up? That's sick. And I'm like, how in the fuck do you believe that? How do you believe that? I'm just some guy.
Oh, no. Candy, no.
Are you kidding me?
Candy just came in and told me she thought the same thing. She just came and said, I thought the same thing when so that's the way it works, guys.
Isn't that beautiful?
Make it.
Isn't that beautiful?
I'm going to be the president of the United States then. Can I just do that?
You can. You actually can. But you have to go.
I can't. I'm a felon. I'm not allowed.
Not you, but maybe somebody else. But yeah, so that was so then let's get back to where Kloochy came from, right? So then I'm here. My thought distortions are now being managed, right? I don't have any of these constant, and at least they're probably still there, but I don't acknowledge it anymore in the same way I did. I would just sit there and just brew on it, bro. Like just fuck. I am such a loser. I am so out of my, I'm crazy to think that I could ever do anything with this music. I'm too old. I'm not
crazy to think you can date Britney.
Exactly. So that stuff's gone. And I start having a conversation just with this really cool chick. We were talking about music. We totally got along. Everything was vibing. You know how a really good session can go when somebody just comes in and you just click with them. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, but you're not going to date her because she wasn't a celeb.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm just messing with you, man. Keep going.
I'm not dating anybody for a while. So
not unless they've reached that status.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a social ladder to climb, motherfuckers. I need some help.
I got something. I'm working on it.
A couple over here.
I'll tell you a little bit about the ladder that I've got to in the last few weeks. It's pretty exciting. So this was just a conversation. We were just talking about music, and instead of normally I preview that conversation with my music. I'm like, oh, I do music, you want to hear it, and then I'll start talking about the name and stuff like that. For some reason, this one didn't go that way. I started talking about the name first, right? Yeah. I started talking about Joshua 6 and Kloochy, and she just was like so excited about it. She's like, you have to use Kloochy. That is the best fucking name. It's perfect for you. It's just you have to do it. Please do Kloochy. And I'm like, okay. Well, I haven't really had that thought in my mind for quite some time now. Let's listen to these songs, thinking about them from Kloochy. And we went back and listened. I have like a song called Drip God, and another song called No Offense, another one called Don't Go Away. And we listened to it through the eyes of thinking about Kloochy singing those songs. And it just made sense. They were good. All of a sudden, the songs were good. They're more interesting. Hilarious. Isn't that weird? It's like Joshua 6, same song, lame as fuck, bro. Lame as fuck. White boy
Kloochy
trying to rap. Kloochy singing the same song. So interesting.
Can I tell you a bit of what I like about Kloochy?
Yes.
It reminds me of two things that are both fashion. One's a fashion accessory like a clutch, right? A girl wears a clutch.
Yes.
The other is the name brand of the possible clutch she could be wearing, which is Gucci, right?
Yes. Yes.
Fits right in with rap, don't it? And of course, Gucci. What, did you already know that? You knew where that was going.
That's the one.
They're all status
no. My
to
first
achieve,
song,
accessories to have, and something that makes the things that you say worthwhile. Vagina.
Yes, exactly.
Because if no vagina's listening to you, then why are you even talking?
Okay, so on this song that I have that's coming out right now, it's called "Money Is the Motive." There's a moment where I yell out "Kloochy," right? Just part of the whatever thing, and I fucking said it wrong during my recording. I said I probably said it right, but it
came out like Kloochy?
No. This was on the I did a feature with a guy named Marty Baller on the East Coast. Like, as soon as I said that I was doing music, this guy hit me up and had me on it on one of his. He features with like Aesop Ferg and some other people.
Awesome.
But he like hit me up, had me do a feature on his song, which is really fucking cool. It's called Champions. Hopefully it'll be coming out soon. And I did like just whatever rap trap kind of vocals over it, but I did say "Coochie" on accident. And then I listened to it, I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta fix that. I need to get that L in there strong, bro.
Right. Well,
make that shit heard.
It ain't a bad mistake to make.
It's not a terrible mistake to make, but at the beginning, you know, when you're
isn't there a Coochie Man or something like that too? Isn't that a real thing?
I don't know.
I thought there was a rapper that was recently actually involved in like a shooting or something like that at one of his. I thought maybe I'm just thinking here in Flint too. Maybe that's just Flint stuff.
Okay, so how many listeners do you get on this podcast?
I've reached 10,000 downloads through one of my subscribers. According to like Spotify, I've had well over that, but there's like one that I just trust, which is the lowest number, but seems to be the most verified. And so I'm at 10,000 downloads for like all my episodes, which I got a fuck ton of episodes.
That's fantastic. That's exciting.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay, so
to where see, now we're talking about all this stuff that I can I'm going to reach out to Headspace now and say, hey, I need some money, mofos. We're talking about this DBT.
Yep. I'm going to start doing a YouTube video where I talk about it just because I think it would be really beneficial. I need to promote myself anyways. I need to get people on YouTube so that I do music videos, they hit. But I'm really interested.
And the more understanding they have of you as a character, as you as a person, as you as a rapper, then the more interest that you generate all around this Kloochy character as well.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the hardest thing about that idea though, is if you just like just me, I'm doing it pretty much by myself right now. I got a couple of producers that I work with. I got a really good engineer. I've got a really good manager. I've got like a media company that I'm working with. But when I look at social media, right, and I just count the different social medias that I have to be actively involved on, creating an audience on every day, there's 8 of them. 8.
Is Discord
Facebook,
one?
Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, fucking TikTok. There's 8. YouTube. There's 8. Right?
Yeah.
So
you might as well
how
be on
the
all
fuck am I supposed to do 8 social media platforms when I'm too autistic to do 1? You know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, how the fuck? I have to like get another person, I have to like hire another person just to do each one, probably.
Does it put more pressure on you then to say anything? Like on Twitter, on social media, because of your autism? You're like, I struggle to type words.
It makes it almost impossible.
Am I autistic? Now I need to ask. I can't text people, dude. I've got 20 responses waiting on my phone right now for text messages I'm supposed to return.
Yep. I think that's kind of normal. It's like, it's the way I was saying it is, it's like, I'm looking
up. But when you think it's normal, I should be worried. That's what you were saying about hanging out with this kid too.
Well, I don't think that I think that a lot more people have symptoms, some sort of symptoms of autism than really we would know about, because people don't really know how to recognize it, right? Like if you so the way I know is when I asked my mom, right? And I said, Mom, what was I like when I was born? And she said, you were freaking the fuck out, right? You were not consolable. You could not handle being touched. You could not handle light. You could not handle noise at all. And I was like, oh, there you go.
So then other parts might actually be things that you were saying that I've found ways to be OCD or anxiety, or because my brain not processing thoughts right, because of possibly not seeing things because of seeing things as good or bad, I've learned that I process some things, and those kinks maybe in my thinking could cause me to have these OCDs or these anxieties about text messages and stuff.
I don't know. I think anxiety about text messages and stuff is absolutely normal. And okay. I don't think that the experience that I'm going through is an autistic experience. Of what I was going to compare it to is I'm looking at these social medias, right? If you look at 8 different social media, and the way I'm looking at it in my mind, it develops picture because I'm just like incredibly visual, you know, and the mind's eye is like the strongest. I can't have people talk about certain things because I just can't help but picture everything that anybody ever says or any situation.
So, right on. So we don't talk, that makes sense.
Right. So I'm thinking about these social media as a mountain, right? And I want to reach the top of the mountain, but I'm counting all the steps first. Right. Mm-hmm. It's like going, fuck, once you get to like 10,000, you're like, fuck, I can't walk 10,000 steps up this mountain. I just counted them. Right. That seems impossible. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same idea. You look at those 20 text messages and you're going, fuck, I got to answer 20 text messages.
Right.
Well, that seems impossible.
Just by the sheer number.
If you just opened one of them and didn't know there were 20, you wouldn't have the same problem.
Right.
If you just look at it as, so it's just like thinking about it in a different way. I don't think
Elon Musk said something like that. Maybe it wasn't. I know there's some great people have said it before. It's been echoed throughout many endeavors where people have achieve a large amount of success, and they eventually say, "If I had any idea of how much hard work it was, I probably would have never
wouldn't have fucking done that." And that's my problem right now is that I do see. I've been thinking about this music shit for fucking my whole life since I was a little kid, and I do see, right. I've been through enough of it. I've seen whole genres and new ones start several times now. I do see the work. So it's fucking more exhausting for me.
Okay.
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Because you're still going on it. You're still deciding to take these steps because you've also seen the proof of manifestation before and of hard work.
The proof of manifestation, but I know that it's an exhausting, overly exhausting. It's, you know, the word exhaustion doesn't even touch just even what I'm feeling right now, currently, of just I'm at the music studio when I get done tattooing from 9 o'clock till 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning. Sometimes I still got to get up in the morning and do everything. You know what I'm saying?
Your own studio you built, or you're getting time from somebody?
Oh no, I joined up with a studio. So there's a guy that I know that built a studio, and he had I went and recorded with him. I did pay for the time, and then I saw like a space that he was just had like a drum set kind of sitting in, and I'm like, bro, well, you should just rent this to me. Well, also I was rapping here at the tattoo studio, and I'm probably gonna have the same problem right now, but there's a bunch of people right above me that do all these different types of services. Okay. And at one point I have my headphones on, I've got my vocal coach who I meet with every week, and we're going over one of my songs, and I'm rapping it real loud. I've got the beat in my head and I'm rapping it, and all of a sudden I hear this kind of background pounding. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's her, this is my neighbor upstairs, stomping off the ground and screaming at the top of her lungs, fucking stop. And then I got a note. You. Yeah. And then I got a note about an hour later. I have it right here in front of me, actually. It's really funny. Let me read it to you.
Please.
It says, hey, neighbor, I waited to check in the past weeks. What's up? Dude, Lord, angry voices carry, frowny face. Can't help but worry for you. And now it's escalated and my clients can hear it through the headphones. What happened to 2 p.m. Josh with groovy studio music? There's a lot more to it. 2
p.m. Josh.
Well, yeah, because I was like,
we getting turned up, girl. You know, it passes 8 o'clock. We getting turned up.
No, it was early in the morning. That was at 9:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
That's when I had my vocal coach. So she had never heard me even hear at that time before. So it was really weird. I was like,
and you were doing angry voices, huh?
I'm like yelling some rap music. Yeah, trying to figure it out. I don't think I was being angry, but I'm sure the way it carried through was like louder than expected. So it sounded maybe more angry than it was.
Right. They were like, what the fuck? He's getting in a fight down there or something.
Okay, so I'm going to get back into my story. I've got this chick. She's on my table. We're talking about Kloochy. She blows me up on Kloochy. She loves the music through Kloochy. I'm so fucking stoked about it. Then I've got another client. He's like a, I don't know, like an electrical engineer or some sort of contractor. And he's getting this fucking huge back piece. And he raps as well. right? We've talked about it a few times, and I'm like, dude, we should get together and like try to make a song together. Maybe you could help me write or whatever. Like, so then she sits down for a session. I'm like, all right, we're doing it today. I'm going to put on BeatStars. We're just going to listen to beats. I don't know if you've heard of BeatStars, but it's like this amazing place where anywhere from around the world can upload their beats, and you can purchase them and use that for your music. And it's just amazing. I've bought beats from people fucking in Italy, Ethiopia, fucking, Germany.
Do some people put free beats on there too, hoping to get residuals or anything?
No. Okay. It's all for sale. You don't do the original. They don't. It's all kind of the same thing. You pay like $25 to $40 for just the MP3. You pay maybe $100 to get all the stems, and then they pull their little tag off of it, and then you pay maybe $200 or $300 for a full license, and that's to freely use it however you want.
Is that how that song Panda came to be? You familiar with that song?
I have no idea. Okay. I know there are some songs that happen like that though. That have some BeatStars.
Right on.
So we pull the BeatStars playlist up. We start going through songs. We find this really cool instrumental. It's kind of this trappy type beat, and I get this thing in my head. Right? It's like just little groove, and I'm gonna do something sometimes. Sometimes. Right? Sometimes I'm thinking this, and we spend like 4 hours like, oh yeah, let's do this. Okay. So we write 3 or 4 pages of things that you can do sometimes. Fucking what you feel sometimes. I'm doing blow sometimes. I'm getting head sometimes. I'm feeling stupid sometimes. Just everything we could think of that you would do sometimes. And then I took it home and I turned it into a song. Actually put it all the different lines in order, wrote a chorus, wrote a whole rap for it, everything. And then I recorded it. And I was like, fuck, I think I got my first like good song, like my first really good song. Like this is really good. And I started showing it to people, and everybody had that. Like for the 10 years, let me tell you the reaction of people when I show them my music. You hear that?
It didn't sound like much.
That's my or they would just start talking about 10 seconds into the song, and the song would end and we'd be in full house. Right.
Yeah. So that's painful, probably.
Picking fucking. And
is that like somebody looking at your kid and then being like, "Oh, I love the shoes," and they're just not talking about how cute he is.
Guess what I get? Guess what I get every time I buy a beat and I record over it? Guess what? The only compliment that I get is, "That's a great beat."
Oh shit!
I'm like, fuck! I worked so hard on the vocals.
But when Kloochy records over this shit, it's different.
For some reason. So I started showing these songs to people, and they were just like, bro, that's a good song. Like, wow. And I was just like, what? Like, I've been waiting for somebody to say something like that for years. What are you talking about? Like, dude, it's just catchy. It's stuck in my head. I just can't stop. It's so good. So then I wrote another fucking song after that. That was just more of a straight rap song. And I went to LA and recorded those 2 songs. So the first one's going to be coming out April 20th. And then the other one's going to come out 2 weeks after that. And then it's going to be a steady stream. Like every 2 weeks, there's going to be another song. Every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Until I get good enough at that. So where I can do a song every week. And then next year, in April, I'm putting out like a full album. I might do like a mixtape before that. And then once the album comes out.
The full album, you figure would be all the kind of the best of and the stuff you were like, okay, there's really something here. And you're working.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And it has to have like somewhat of a conducive feeling or theme or something that really makes it an album.
Makes it a Kloochy album.
Yeah, exactly. And then once
that ties it all together. I follow.
Exactly. And then once I've got that, then it's all going to be about doing the live show. And the reason I'm waiting on that right now is because I've only got a few songs.
Right.
And who's going to you can't really perform with a few songs. But also I'm in the midst of writing. But once I get the songs that I know I want to perform, then it's all about renting a soundstage and just creating. Like I'm definitely not going to do the regular hip hop show. It's going to be a full. I've been watching live music for so long, and I watched it transition right from being this really exciting creative thing to being a karaoke show.
Okay, a visual show, you mean, or not?
No, I'm talking karaoke. About the performance.
Right.
Live music has turned from live music to karaoke.
Ashley Simpson.
It's karaoke. Now every single fucking artist puts their fucking karaoke track, which is what the engineer calls it, a karaoke track. They say, hey, I'm going to produce your karaoke track for your live show. right? I didn't know that. That blew my mind. I'm like, you motherfuckers call this the karaoke? Like, you know what you're doing? You know you're just doing karaoke and you're still doing it?
So
like,
it has their audio, their vocal already recorded, and they kind of lip sync?
It just pulls the main vocal down a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So, okay.
Right?
I feel like I hear that sometimes when I'm listening to music that's live. And you can kind of, you never really know, though, if it's the audio is off. You know, because sometimes your TV's a little bit off on the audio, but you're like, that didn't seem like it's lining up. Or I hear two voices.
Right. Yes, you hear two voices because there's two voices, because they're singing out their own fucking song.
Because there is
stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard in my life. I'll probably have to do it just because that's the way things are. But my plan.
Well, what are you going to dance around on stage? You working on your TikToks?
Well, no, I haven't. No, I mean, I'm going to have to do something, right? I can't just stand there. I'm definitely
You're a visual person anyways.
But
You're a really visual person anyway. So you're going to have, I know that you're going to have a visual part to your stage, very visual.
I think that's already kind of a expected thing, right? It's a show. Most artists do something visual, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about making it more than just a visual karaoke experience. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like actually doing a real performance, actually playing my guitar, actually singing the songs, actually having backup singers, actually having like my DJ plays fucking saxophone like a champ, bro. Actually having him pull his saxophone out during the hip hop show. You know what I'm saying? Like having.
Yeah, I feel like it's not too. I mean, new though. Maybe we're going back. Remember, the Beastie Boys had that album.
Yes.
Was it Paul's Shop or Paul's Boutique or something?
Yep.
It's one of their best albums, in my opinion, because it was not a lot of hits, but
right.
But man, so I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time I had ever thought when they had that one lyric, a stupid little lyric in it, where he says, "And then she told me, darkness is not the opposite of light, but the absence of it."
Right. Yep.
I'm like, I mean, it's stupid as that is, but I love
that
one.
So really, like, that's kind of what like the power of Kloochy is. Not to say that being old is a good thing, but if there is something good about it, it's that I've lived through all of this music, and it's changed, and nobody seems to give a fuck or notices that it's changed. And I want to offer my audience what I got when I valued my experiences, and it's not available currently.
Like, do you feel that's more soulful then too? If you're out there playing, you might make a mistake. You're not playing to a karaoke track or whatever. It's more live. It's going to be more
live.
soul,
I want it to feel. I want them to know, that they came to a live show and it was a different experience. I'm not just going to play the fucking song just like it is on the radio or whatever. It's going to be a totally different experience, and that just comes from me being a rock fan and just going to all like a progressive rock fan, really, and going to all these shows that were just so full of musical energy, and just going to a show now. And literally that doesn't exist anymore. There is no musical energy anymore. There might be some hype energy. Like I went to a Logic show, right? And they tried to hype people by telling them how fucking lame they were, and then trying to walk off stage and then making everybody cheer for them, and then lying to everybody and telling them that there was a $50,000 fee if they overplayed, and then continuing to play. Like that's how they hype people. Had zero to do with me.
Let me see if I got this. They told them they were not cool enough for them, and then they came up to applause. But they came up and were like, "Hey, you're ugly. Hey, you're fat. It
was like,
you guys are fucking lame.
This is the lamest audience I've ever had. You guys are so. What are you all fucking high?
Oh, okay.
Like you guys are so quiet. I don't even want to play the show anymore. Right? So we walked off stage, and they had this hype man try to get the crowd engaged.
To get him to play. Come on, bring him out here like the Godfather of Soul. You know,
he's not coming back out.
But at least the Godfather of Soul would go out and give so much he had nothing left. And then they would try to take him off stage, like, oh, here, put the robe on him, cover him up, because he's a weak, frail man now. He's given everything. And then he'd be like, nah, I got more.
Oh, I love that idea. I love that idea. I'm doing it.
Right on. The only thing I know about that actually is just the Eddie Murphy idea of it, because I've never gotten a chance to see a James Brown, nor have I watched the movie. Let me ask you a very important question, then completely off topic. Jake Paul.
I don't know who that is.
That's the question. Oh, wow. Right on. Well,
Who's
moving right along then.
Who's Jake Paul?
He's a YouTuber who turned professional boxer, advocating for
something else, but it is Paul.
No, it's Jake Paul. You'd probably think of his brother Logan Paul, the former Vine actor.
That's why I didn't. Okay,
Suicide Forest Logan Paul is who.
Yeah, I thought Logan Paul was the one that did the fight, and I was just like, what the fuck?
What he fought as well. But Jake Paul is somebody who has manifested a very good career out of the anger and hatred that he has had throughout his career.
Okay.
And he's manifested that into a successful career. I always find it very unique. I don't really care for the guy sometimes, perhaps, or even his antics. And I've seen him since since his very first days as a YouTuber, because my son used to watch him. And now he's doing boxing. It's not for nothing. I'm sorry to even actually. I feel like I derailed it, and I had this greater question.
I'll bring us right back on the rails, and I'll just say, any of your amazing listeners that are out there that are linked to the music industry in any way that has anything that they could possibly help me escalate my career, you can email me at kloochygang@gmail.com.
Game or gang?
Gang, KLOOCHYGANG @gmail.com. That's actually, I didn't even come up with that. It was my people that were online, like the second day that I started saying Kloochy, I had tons of people hashtagging Kloochy Gang. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. And then another guy started he actually started another Instagram account called Kloochy, because I don't have one that's in the name of Kloochy. It's just my name, but then I just changed, I don't know how it works exactly, but he started one with the thing Kloochy, and I was like, bro, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, it's just a fan account. I'm just going to help.
Oh, cool.
You. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Hell yeah. But yeah,
if he's telling the truth,
music industry listeners, I sure need help. I want to make this happen. I'm not fucking around. So
I've known him for a while.
I'm ready to work.
Right, Lion. He needs help. This kid.
Yep. Not because I need help, because I can't make it on my own, but because I need help because I can't make it on my own.
Because nobody can make it on their own.
Nobody can make it on their own. My team's very small right now, and it needs to grow. And the
gang needs to grow.
I need the gang. Yeah, exactly.
So if I'm a non-music person though, how can I join the Kloochy Gang?
Well, I have a whole idea. I have a whole idea for that, right? And
I don't have to get beat in, do I?
No, I have an idea for this, and it's a subscription-based thing, kind of like what is it? There's one that everybody can go on where your fans can support you. I can't think of the name right now.
GoFundMe? I don't know.
No,
NFTs? Couldn't you sell NFTs?
No, it's specific to it's like a OnlyFans, but for musicians, right? Where people pay a subscription service. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's very, very popular, but it's a similar idea to that, where I would build a website that has a login thing to it. So in order to be able to access the website, you have to at least sign up, right? Which is just give a email and a username, and then there's different options of how involved you're going to get to be. So the free Kloochy Gang member, you're pretty much just getting advertised to, right? You're going to get the pre-release information. You're going to know what songs are coming out. You're going to get the links to the videos, all that stuff. And then there's going to be different stages. If you pay $5 for a membership a month, then you're going to get maybe I'll send you an email, and you'll get maybe more pre-release type stuff and maybe a little bit of swag. And then if you're a $25 a month supporter, then you're a fan, right? You're not just a member of the game, but you're an official fan, and you're getting music that other people don't get to hear. You're getting maybe some t-shirts. You're getting maybe some, some sort of, what, I don't know, some sort more. So
live tapings, what music other people are hearing, bad songs that you don't want to put out, or
more media than you would get just as the other fan. I would do something else, like I said, live tapings.
Do we get to see your feet?
Huh?
Do you gonna take some pictures of your feet?
No, my feet are not part of the whole story.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
but you still think people are paying for this, huh? All right.
And then there's a $100 version, $100 a month, and that $100 a month. And this is just an idea that I haven't put into practice yet. I don't even know if it's gonna work. But the $100 one is you're a supporter. Your title now is the supporter. It's more of you're understanding that you're actually financially supporting me. and I'd probably do something like a once a year private show for all the supporters, or something really special like that. Where you're getting a lot of extra. You probably get a t-shirt every freaking, like any shit we make for Kloochy, you get it automatically for free. Yeah, any merch, any albums come out, we'll
first in line for NFTs. What do you see yourself touring with us?
Let's talk about NFTs,
what you going to do with them?
So go ahead. What was your question?
Are you going to be touring with us? Is that the plan?
I'm going to be touring. Yeah.
It's hard. You're still a father. You got a 10-year-old, you said, right?
Yeah, I got a 10-year-old, but she's got a real good support system. She's got a stepdad, and I'm a real small part of her life, and she supports me. And we've already talked about it, like what that means. And it literally just means that when I'm available, that I get all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm off touring for 6 months and I come back and I'm home for a month, I get it all the time. That she's with me that whole time. So we'll work it out. But my son's going to be 17. He wants to go with me.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, he wants to go private school. He wants to hit the road. He's ready. So he doesn't care.
I've done that
private school, but homeschooling.
Homeschool, yeah.
Anyways,
he's only got a couple of years left at best.
2 more years left, anyways. It's probably going to be that time. You know what I'm saying? Like the next 2 years, probably what it's going to take me to really get ready to actually do a real tour. I'll probably do like 2 or 3 week small tours during that time, but nothing big.
The subscriptions would probably get that too.
The music has to hit before I can do a big tour. Like I have to have a song on the radio before I can do a big tour. I can do small ones, but I'm not going to pay for a huge fucking tour.
Now that you're sounded by death row, man, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. So let's talk about NFTs real quick. Okay. So
I was just talking with Jesse Smith about NFTs. I was talking with Lenatra about NFTs, and I understand that who's the oil? But Nick Baxter is also heavily involved with NFTs. But those are the few tattooers.
Nick is like my homie, bro. I love that guy. Not only we're friends, but he's like my biggest idol in the fucking industry. I think
very impressive.
Yeah, we relate in a lot of ways, I think.
Is he out there around you? I don't know where he's at.
No, he's on the East Coast. He's on the East Coast. No, he might have been. Really? He's in Texas. He's in Texas now. Sorry.
Right on.
He's in Austin. So.
Keeping it weird.
My idea. Oh, go ahead.
No, they keep it weird in Austin. That's what I was just thinking.
Keep it weird in Austin. Yeah, and they sold that for Portland.
From up there. From Portland, yes. Okay, right on.
Now it's just keep it creepy in Portland. I don't think it's weird anymore. I think it just went to creepy because of all the people in the tents. There's a whole background behind that, but I'll give it to you in a second. Let's get to the NFTs.
NFTs. All right. Listen, guys, that's spoiler alert. So let's just make that a part 2, and then they'll have to tune. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, go on. NFTs. Okay, so you messing with them?
Well, I haven't done anything yet, but what I would like to do is I would like to sell my tattoo sessions through NFTs. So I'll sell 200 NFTs. Each one of them will represent a date during the year, whatever date that you decide you want to buy. And let's say you pay $1,500 for your NFT. The magic of that is that person's paying me $1,500 for their NFT, right? They're coming in and getting their $1,500 tattoo. I get all of the money up front because you do a one sale, right? You just sell the NFTs and everybody buys them and your money. So I get, what is it? If it was just $1,000 a session, and I sell 200 of them, that's $200,000 for the year from tattooing, which is more money than I make now because of cancellations. And then that person, right? They don't actually spend their money.
Right. No, because they got a free NFT.
They got a free NFT that's worth.
And the NFT has the chance to go up in value as you do more art. Certainly, as Kloochy goes.
Really, all somebody has to do is sell one for more money, and then all of them go up.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. I think I'm just now getting my understanding of the importance of it not being decentralized. You know, about how it records all the transactions that it goes through itself. So I try to imagine a dollar bill and how many transactions it's going to go through before it finally sees its end of its life. But in each of those transactions, it's really just a promise from the government that it has the value that it is.
Which they can't.
Now,
which they can't keep their promise because that keeps changing.
well, it certainly fluctuates. I mean, they've done a decent job. I'm certainly not trying to take it away from them, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how your fortune is structured, this decentralized, it has all the faith in the government removed because its faith is in its transaction and its accurate record of it. So when I buy it from you for $1,500 and I get a free NFT, really, because I get a tattoo, right? And then I hold on to that. If somebody else wants that NFT, when I sell it for $1,501.
Yep.
And it is worth $1,501. When that person decides to sell it, he sells it for $1,503.
I don't.
But
think
the truth of that matter is, it's going to go up exponentially more than that, and in some cases, even double or triple.
And I don't think that there's going to be. I think there's going to be a time that we see all service-related industry do something like that. But I don't see. I don't know anybody that's doing that yet, right? That's selling their tattoo sessions through NFTs. But I think it's going to fucking change my life, bro.
That makes sense. I like it.
Because just imagine having all your income from a tattoo industry, which is a lot of income at once.
Oh, that would mess me up. You never see me again.
For me, I'm trying to do music, bro. I'm trying to do music.
So it would help. Yeah.
That's just expensive.
Influx of money. What about this? What if an NFT were recorded as a song, right? So if I sell that NFT and then that person has that image, aren't they also able to record audio with that?
Oh yeah, you could do audio, you could do video, you could do JPEGs. So yes, I've thought about how I haven't quite, because obviously I'm a little bit more in tune to how to make money with the tattoo industry than I am with the music industry at this point in my life. So obviously that was like kind of where I could put things together that I know about, but I don't know how to make music work yet financially.
I wonder if you could just keep making every time somebody got his. I mean, I don't know how much it costs to mint these NFTs. I know there must be a minting process.
A little bit, yeah. It depends on it just depends on the cost, but yeah, or how many people.
But if every song that you made available online was an NFT, and each one was unique because as it was generated, you had one personal bit of audio that was just relative to it. Perhaps I don't know if you need that to keep it unique.
You would want to sell maybe 10,000 or 1,000 copies of it or something like that. You would want to have a bunch of them out for that. I think for that one song, because it's not about the song or the image at all. It's about the code. It's about the little code that says this is unique, right? So they could have the same fucking image a billion times, but if you don't have that code that says it's unique, then it's not worth anything.
And then there's a contract line, if I understand too, that kind of tells how it will be structured or how it has its value.
Yeah, super interesting.
I'm slowly understanding. Yes.
So
what would your NFTs look like? What do you see them at?
I have fucking no idea. I have no idea.
That's where I'm at.
There's people on Fiverr that'll make them for you. I might just have that.
I've got a bad idea. I don't know if it's a good one, but I want to do. Man, I don't know. I don't want anybody else to take my idea for it. And at the same time,
don't say your idea, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. And also the thing about ideas that I've learned over the time that it's not about the idea, it's about the doing, right? Like you can say ideas all fucking day, but nobody's going to do that shit. Unless you are, and then that thing happens. But
I've had the idea for the best trash can in the world. I've told millions of people about it.
Nobody's going to take your idea, bro.
Easy to make. No one's done it.
No, because
somebody does have a patent somewhere of a very similar idea, but not executed in the same cheap fashion that my idea is executed.
Okay, so we got 11 minutes. I want to tell you about. This.
Is that it? We didn't even get to the trip to Germany. We got to.
No, we didn't go to Germany. We didn't go to Germany because you had a felony.
We didn't talk about Ink Masters and all these poor people. You got to do a number 2 with.
Yeah, we'll do another one. We'll do another one. But okay, so
I've had a blast, dude.
I really want to get this out. In Mexico, the fucking chemical that they've been making, I might get it wrong. I think it's like ephedrine or some shit like that. The chemical that they make meth out of, right?
Oh, that was legalized.
It's what?
Ephedrine, you're right.
Okay, so that chemical.
Epinephrine.
Something like that. I
think it's ephedrine, actually. I think it's ephedrine.
Stuff. I don't know if that's it, but
yeah, that's the different one.
Okay, so that chemical became illegal in the recent years in Mexico.
Okay.
Right. So the fucking cartel could no longer get that. And not only was it illegalized in Mexico, but it's also a natural chemical, right? There's only one source that you can get it from, and it's from a natural source. So it's very, very expensive. It's very, very difficult to get. And now it's illegal in Mexico, which means it's not accessible to even the cartel.
No more crank. No Mexican crank.
No more crank in that form. So what they did was they built these fucking crazy labs, and they did a bunch of fucking experiments, and they found this new chemical called P2P. P2P is the opposite as far as its availability and rareness and expensiveness as ephedrine or whatever, right? It's very.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way I used to download my music a couple years ago.
Well, now there's a chemical called P2P, and it's more dangerous than what? I'm sorry, it's more accessible, right? It's cheap to get. You don't need it. You can get it from many, many different places. It's very easy to make,
easy to manufacture,
and it makes something similar to meth, right? The difference is that with the epinephrine or ephedrine or whatever the fuck was in it, that meth, it's like a party drug, right? You like, it stimulates you. You're like wanting to hang out. So very
pleasure
social.
centers open up, and they stop getting.
Yeah, you're
being
people
told
talking 100 miles an hour, and fucking just like this really like very social experience. When you make it with P2P, it turns the person almost immediately into somebody with schizophrenia. Almost immediately. You smoke it one fucking time and you got voices coming.
So what's this doing with the tents?
Well, what happens is that a schizophrenic person that's on meth, right, can't keep a job. A non-schizophrenic person that's on meth can keep a job. They're really good at work. They're awesome. They're fucking busting their ass, sweating. No, not consistently, but you can't.
It's addiction will eventually get them. It just.
But I've seen people that have done it for. I've seen people that have done it for 30 fucking years, and they.
I didn't do it for 30, but I did it for a few years.
Yeah, but I've seen people keep their jobs and maintain some sort of normal life because their brains don't melt into shit right away. Right.
Right.
This stuff.
They got the good meth.
It's immediate, right? You're immediately, everything is against you. Everybody's against you. Your family, your coworkers, your kids.
That's affecting people in Portland then, because they're using
no, bro.
This crank has made its way across the border.
No, here's the thing. They haven't just made it across the border because they have so much of it. Now, when you were to, like, let's say you were to buy like a pretty hefty bag of like a kilo of fucking meth before, it's like $4,000 or $5,000 for that kilo of meth. Now it's $400 or $500, and it's in every city in the country. Whereas before, meth was only isolated to a few cities. Now you have this shit in New England, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's everywhere. I read an article about
with schizophrenics everywhere then as well.
Say that again.
Then also with schizophrenics everywhere.
Well, that's why you have tent cities piling up everywhere. Because what's the best place for a meth addicted schizophrenic person to be?
Oh, a tent commune would probably be nice as long as it's not too cold.
This is just in a tent. Just in a tent. You can't live in a house anymore because you can't pay for your fucking job, right? You can't do your job anymore. You can't pay for your house. So you go to this tent and you want to be there. You're stoked. You're happy to be there because you're isolated now. Now nobody can get to you. You're safe. You've completely detached from the grid. Yeah, there's no way the bad guys can get you because you're in your fucking tent. There's no way they could even know about you. But you're still tweaked the fuck out, looking out, you're, wondering, worrying.
There's people in these people love being in the tents. Then they get the community from it. And now they've all got a good, easy place to get drugs from.
Most of them don't live in the communities, bro. Most of them live in a tent by themselves. There's a little communities. You'll see 10 or 20 tents, but there's thousands of tents in the city.
But they're not right next. They're not like two-story.
No, they're too afraid. Most people are too afraid.
Those are paranoid.
Those cities are probably more heroin than meth, I would think.
Yeah, that's more communal.
Social, right? Heroin's it's fucking crazy. And it's something that it's because, it's the same kind of thing we go back into from the earlier conversation where it's so similar, where you're thinking about the government and the Mexican cartel and the World Bank system and the money and all that shit. It's like, we can't actually do anything about it because we kind of make it happen. We kind of allow it by.
How do we do this?
by not getting involved, by allowing the cartel's power, by putting a war against fucking Afghanistan to steal fucking heroin rather than putting the war against the Mexican cartel.
It's kind of all related then with our unholistic approach to.
You there? Did I lose you? Hello?
Sorry.
There you are. Hello? Are you working for the cartel? You're working for the cartel?
Can you hear me?
Oh, he's talking about it. Cut him off.
They're shutting me down. Wow, maybe they are, dude. Maybe I'm that popular. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Please tell me you can.
Yes,
I do need to. Obviously, we need to wrap this up. You've got so limited time, but you promised me we'll do this again soon.
Let's do it. Let's do it a bunch of times. I like it. We'll make it.
You know, this has been one of my favorite ones too, because I've had to say nothing. I just got to turn you on and let you go.
Let's do it.
As soon as you don't do rap, man, you better jump over on these podcasts.
Well, why don't we just start that now? I don't need to wait.
What? You mean you're ready for part 2?
I don't know. Oh, right now? Let's do it. No, I gotta get to work. No, I've definitely been thinking about that podcast idea. I just obviously have thought distortions, right? Well, you don't have anything to say. You don't, there's no way you're going to be able to do that. Blah blah blah. But obviously, this proves differently.
Yes, no, you've been one of the easiest people to talk with, and we didn't get to any of the Ink Master stuff, and fans are going to be so pissed. They got a lot of questions, but what
do they want to know? We got 3 more minutes. What do they want to know?
One, they wanted to know why you were so weird. And I apologize if that one comes off mean. That was just one mean guy, but other people phrase similar questions. And they're like, why were you different? And you've already answered that. You know what I mean? You had a great answer for that. How was the weed? They want to ask you about getting kicked out for that.
Let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I got 3 minutes. So fucking Jason was the only one that was in that top 3 that was smoking with me, but everybody else was. Maybe a couple people didn't, but that weed was a normal thing. Me and Jason were doing it to get first day. Let's get high, bro. And
everybody was kind of smoking.
And I was smoking with the producers, bro.
You're such an idiot. Why were you doing
with the producers? That? Well, because I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm living in a fucking legal state. I didn't think about it. I mean, I kind of did, but I'm just that kind of guy. I have a fucking mental problem, right? I can't process things correctly, and I end up.
Do you remember being in the city and you smoked somebody's? I don't know. You got some weed or something, and someone said to you, "You can't be smoking that shit hot in the city."
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? It was like a bum came up and said, "Oh man, you can't be smoking that shit hot in the city."
Yeah, I don't. That's just my brain just doesn't. Like I said, it's legal here. Nothing was. There was no thought. My dad warned me. He saw me packing my weed in my thing. He goes, "What's that?" And I go, "I'm bringing weed." He goes, "Oh," he goes, "No, wouldn't that be fucked up if you brought that and that was the reason you went home?" Yep. He saw it. So then I'm smoking my weed, right? Everything's fine. Everybody's cool with it. Everybody else is getting high as fuck and drinking and shit. It's a normal fucking thing. And it's not actual weed. It's just fucking hash oil that I brought in another little vape pen. So I didn't actually even have any weed. I had hash oil. And I'm smoking that.
I've heard the other. I've heard that you had so much that I heard that you had dry, that you had edibles, that you had oils.
Give me just a second. Sorry, my client was trying to show up. No, I just had a little. I had like a little bit of hash oil only.
Okay.
And it was just such a tiny amount. And I'm smoking it every day, and everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, I see Jason, and this is after the same kind of thing happened during season 3. There was this little weird division of people, right? Where all of a sudden now I'm on the outside for some reason, and I don't quite understand what's going on. Why are these people acting weird to me? What's the deal? I don't fucking know. What did I do? Right?
Right. Yeah.
I see Jason, I see Clean, and I see Eric sitting on the beds. You know what I'm talking about? 2 of them are sitting on one bed, the other one's sitting on the other bed, and they're having a fucking. Okay. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they stop talking right away, right? Well, then all of a sudden I got fucking what's her name, Andrea, yanking me out of the fucking room, saying, "Hey, we heard you had weed." And I'm like, well, fuck, I guess I can give you what I have. I don't really have much left. No problem. Right. Here, you can have it. She's like, cool. Someday that will be fine. You'll be able to smoke weed with us. But, right now it's not legal, but we're good. Right. So I give it to her. We're good. So then I see Jason. He goes, "Oh my God, what happened?" Motherfucker. Right. And,
okay.
What happened? What's going on? And I'm going, "Oh, they fucking found out that I had weed and they took my thing. But don't worry, I just gave him like an empty container. I still have, well, you know, like I still have it. Boom. An hour later, Andrea's back at my fucking bed, waking me up, screaming at me. I know you still have your fucking weed. Give it to me now. I can't trust you anymore. Blah, blah, blah.
No, she's
right?
pissed. Okay. Yeah.
She's pissed, bro.
I have heard that.
That's what ass, right? And was like, oh, he still has his weed. There's no other way it could have happened. So then then the whole thing happens, right? They kick me off and they're trying to say a bunch of shit. He was cheating because he had pictures on his phone. He had 3 cell phones. He was cheating.
Now that's what I heard, that you've had 3 cell phones, and you did tell me at one point that you were planning on bringing some kind of more reference material.
Of course I would. Of course I would.
And I'm outing them because I'm going to talk with them about it too, and they're going to probably come back with some fire about whatever. But Petticourt and Don Petticourt and Clay Dunn both told me that they saw a text message from Nunez to you that you showed them while you guys were all filming.
Me and Nunez were texting the whole time.
Okay, right on. But now everybody else had their phones gathered up, and you were
but
giving
I'm not
them
stupid, and I'm not
right?
I'm not going to just do shit because people tell me to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, because there is no good or evil. You've seen past that bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, I want to fucking talk to my kids still. I want to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If I can get away with it, I'm not going to fucking be completely controlled by anybody.
Right. So you did bring other phones.
I brought 3 fucking phones.
But the reason you were removed was not for using those phones, but instead for the weed still, because she didn't trust you.
Because the phones didn't actually fucking matter. And it was just
so if you had given her the weed the first time and just been like,
yes, if I would have given it to her the first time, it would have been fine. I wouldn't have.
Or if you had not told,
or if I just denied it. If I just fucking denied it. If I would have just denied it, bro. If I would have just denied it. If I would have just said, "What are you talking about? They're full of shit. That's bullshit. Go through my shit. You're not going to find anything. You're full of shit." Right? But I didn't because I'm trying to be good person. I wasn't trying to be fucking sneaky or weird. That wasn't my goal.
You were doing really good on the show that time too. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you figure out something between the two? This is part 2 stuff, I think. Yeah. You have an appointment there right now?
Waiting outside. But so the last thing is, I just want to say about the whole weed thing is that I saw Jason at a convention afterwards, and he was pretty, I don't want to say in tears because he might deny it, but I could see he was upset, and he gave me a hug and he apologized, and he said that it was fucked up that he had did that to me, and I didn't know it was him until he admitted it to me. And then then he explained, like, well, let me tell you about how bad my karma is right now. And he has like his liver issues and his financial issues. They took all his money, all that money he won is the government time of it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want bad things to happen to people. That's for fucking sure. But when somebody puts toxicity in their life and it affects them, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it is.
Would you say that then to end this? Because I'm betting that you don't. Because there's people out there that they're weed warriors. They're on your side, Josh.
Right.
You would want no ill to come from Jason and from this. You feel he's already paid any of his.
Oh, no. And I don't even think any ill should have come from that because I benefited. Just imagine, and I say this to everybody, just imagine if I was the winner and how easy it would be to forget that. But I'm not. I was a story, and that's impossible to forget.
It's kind of why I owe so much to Nunez, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
And if it wasn't for him fucking being that dick to me that made me fucking great.
Just think about Chris Rock and Will Smith right now. You know what I'm saying? If that didn't happen, motherfucking Grammys wouldn't have been talked about at all by anybody.
I didn't know that was going on until my wife said, I guess Chris Rock just got slapped by Will Smith.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it on that point, man. I'm excited to do it again. Get me scheduled, and we'll do this one more time.
I really look forward to it. Take care, Josh.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.